We called it a light touch renovation, working to a strict budget. Just keeping it simple. I'm an architect. I spend my working life understanding how buildings hold themselves together, and I still didn't see this coming. A few months ago, my partner and I bought this house. It was tired and overlooked, the kind of place that's been patched and repatched by people just trying to get through. This is the first film in a series following the whole renovation, and I'll be honest with you right now, there's no satisfying reveal in this one, no finished room. This is the part where the plan we walked in with slowly falls apart. I think that's worth documenting properly, rather than skipping past it to get to the nice parts. The plan itself was modest, and deliberately so. We had to operate on a really tight budget. We thought to strip the old wallpaper, remove the polystyrene ceiling that technically doesn't meet building regulations anymore, freshen the walls with paint, new appliances, a new boiler since the heating barely worked, new carpets, a handful of cosmetic things, nothing crazy. That was the entire scope. We felt we didn't need to get carried away here because the house had good bones. Also, there were so many charming period features and so much potential. It was just crying out for some love. We'd budgeted around £11,000. Manageable, we thought. There was one red flag we already knew about though. The house had a history of subsidence. But it had been resolved before we arrived. It took over a year, but we even managed to navigate through the mortgage and insurance issues just to get to this point. On paper, that made this feel like about as safe a house as you could take on at this price point. I want you to hold on to that thought, because it doesn't last very long. The first sign came almost immediately. We started peeling the wallpaper back, expecting that satisfying moment you see in every renovation video. Instead, it mostly came away in handfuls. In places, the plaster underneath simply wasn't there to hold it. This was our first hands-on proof that the house had simply been neglected not for years, but for decades. Which is a good moment to introduce Tony, our builder. Now, Tony and I don't always speak the same language, but whatever we lack in verbal communication, Tony makes up for in a language all his own, the universal language of just sticking his hand straight through the wall. No further assessment required. That's the report. Hand went through wall is now gone. There's a strange mood that happens once the fun wears off though. It's the realization that nothing is really salvageable. As we kept peeling back the layers, every room told the same story. New plasterboard, walls and ceilings, almost everywhere in the house. We understood exactly what this meant for the budget that I'd already started quietly worrying about. Every old house is wearing decades of small, quick decisions like a second skin, and the moment you start pulling at one thread, you find out how much of it was only ever wallpaper and hope. The whole house turns into a giant mystery box from which no amount of surveys can fully save you. Here's what I've taken from this, if I'm honest. I spend my working life understanding how buildings are put together, what holds and what doesn't, and I still walked into this thinking light touch was something achievable in a house of this age. We genuinely believed that. Right up until the vibrations from that rebuild started shaking something loose in a room that we hadn't even planned to touch. So the bathroom might be a little dated, but again it had good bones, and we thought it only needed a light refresh. That's when the tiles came away almost immediately, not fixed so much as resting there, held on by optimism alone. Also, I love wood. In fact, this channel is dedicated to my love for making things from wood. But wood in the bathroom? That's an objectively bad idea. It had to go. That was the moment the question changed. It wasn't, can we save this anymore? It was, what in this house is actually built properly at all? The whole bathroom came out and had to start again from nothing. But the bathroom was just the latest example. Before we knew it, the scope slowly unraveled into chaos. And after a few more hand gestures later, the house was stripped bare. Major rewiring was also needed, and some gas pipes also needed replacing. There's a strange privilege in seeing a building in this state. Joists, floorboards, brick, with nothing over it. This is the part of a house you're never supposed to see, the part that just does its job for 100 years, maybe more, while everyone lives on top of it. As an architect, I found it genuinely fascinating. You spend your whole career drawing these things in section, imagining how they go together, and suddenly it's just there in front of you, exposed, honest. Most of it on the floor. So what began as new radiators and a boiler slowly became something much larger, a conversation about how the whole building performs, not just how it looks. Things that weren't even on our to-do list to begin with suddenly became first priorities. But hey, at least we have a new boiler now. I'm not going to put exact figures in this video. In fact, you may have noticed I'm not the only one documenting this process. My partner's gone into the real cost breakdown and buying process in much more depth on her channel, Archeolog. I'll leave a link to her video in the description. I genuinely recommend watching that alongside this one because she was the one holding the spreadsheet while I was somewhere between denial and acceptance. What I can tell you is this though, the number we started with and the number we ended on are not even in the same postcode. So we had a choice at that point. Patch around what we'd found and hope it held together, which wasn't really a choice at all. Or sit down properly with our builder and redefine the project entirely. New scope, new budget, a much more drastic understanding of what this house actually needed, rather than what we'd hoped it needed. So that's where this first part ends. Not with a finished room, with a project stripped out and completely redefined, and a lot less certainty than we started with. But now the rebuild can begin, deciding what we prioritize, what we let go of, and where the money will actually go. And again, for the honest numbers and the regulations behind all of this, go and watch Archeolog's video. Link is below. If you're interested to see how we got on with this build, also consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.